Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sarah salvages Paulina Gabi's issue response. Ava and Stephanie go head-to-head. Days of Our Lives uncovers that Sarah Horton talked with Xander Cook in front of her additional shift at the medical clinic since they'd been short-staffed. Xander mentioned stopping by the Spectator to see how things were going at the office and assured Sarah that he would handle everything with Victoria Horton Cook. In the wake of considering a portion of the obscure moves he made before, Xander demanded he was a real finance manager now and expressed gratitude towards Sarah for putting stock in him. Sarah and Xander appeared to be yearning for one another as Sarah headed not entirely okay to work. At the emergency clinic on episode, Paulina Cost handled her biopsy results in the wake of meeting with Dr. Siegel off-screen. Dr. Siegel had been immediate and instructive, however she wasn't extremely humane. Paulina discussed how terrified she recently was to confront a malignant growth conclusion, yet she professed to have found strength now that she really had it. Chanel Dupree and Abe Carver made an effort to support Paulina, but they could tell that she was mostly putting on a brave face. After Chanel called Johnny DiMera to fill him in, she said she wanted him and trusted they could get together. Chanel likewise talked with Sarah about Paulina's thyroid disease and inquired as to whether Sarah would give her mother some consolation. Paulina asked Sarah if she could be her doctor after she looked over her chart and provided her with additional information and a more sympathetic perspective. Sarah recommended Paulina ought to stay with a subject matter expert, however she was glad to offer help whenever. Next on DOL show, Ava Vitali waved to certain supporters as they left the bistro, which had a dreary lunch swarm with just 3 individuals. The eatery endured a significant shot with lots of dropped reservations after the strike, so Ava said she called Stephanie Johnson for PR help. Stephanie showed up and gave some suggestions for improving the bistro's image, like using her partnership with the Spectator to help Ava and Stefan. Stefan additionally figured he ought to converse with Chad DiMera, so he declared his arrangements to see Gabby Hernandez DiMera at Statesville and afterward visit Chad at the workplace. On out, he gave Ava a kiss and surprised Stephanie once she understood they were a thing. At the Observer, Xander dropped by with Victoria in her child transporter and got refreshes from Chad as well as Everett Lynch. Xander opposed Everett and Chad's concept of siphoning cash into another altruistic occasion unexpectedly early. Everett's significant insignificant money reserve additionally worked up some show with Xander. When Leo Unmistakable walked in, he got a lot of recognition for his new Martin Luther Lord Jr. Day article and gave a visually impaired thing suggestion. Xander lauded Leo for really assisting them with bringing in cash, so Leo valued the injection of self-esteem. Stefan hindered and addressed Chad in confidential about keeping the bistro out of the attack story. Since there was no genuine verification against them, Stefan didn't think it was fair. After Stefan raised the time Chad was unjustly blamed for being the Thai executioner, he behaved like his sibling ought to comprehend. Chad in the end got back to the others and declared that they'd keep any notice of the bistro and the excess on the shipping bay out of the story, so Everett blew up. In spite of Everett's fights, Chad clarified that he was in control and that he got the last say. On Tuesday's episode of Days, Ava looked for answers about Stephanie's personal life at the bistro once more, until Stephanie finally realized what she was getting at. That prompted Ava referencing Stephanie's night with Harris Michaels, yet Stephanie said she was plastered and that nothing past the kiss she impelled occurred. Ava recommended perhaps it was on the grounds that Stephanie wasn't that incredible of a mouth, yet Stephanie countered that perhaps Harris was only a hero. After Ava recognized that Harris was to be sure a hero, she demanded he wasn't the right person for her. Ava behaved like she'd been going to spite Harris's good faith with Stefan at any rate and gave Stephanie her consent to pursue Harris for herself. Stephanie said she didn't require Ava's consent, however, she additionally had no heartfelt interest in Harris. Despite the fact that Stephanie brought up that Ava was having an unsanctioned romance with a wedded man, she felt that was not her concern and recommended they ought to return to PR techniques. Ava preferred all that Stephanie concocted on Tuesday's Days episode and shook on the arrangement similarly as Stefan got back with uplifting news about Chad's collaboration. When Stephanie left, Stefan told Ava that Gabby was back in her cell and keeping her ears open for whatever they could have to be aware. Stefan likewise uncovered that he educated Gabby concerning their phony issue, so Ava asked how that went. Despite the fact that Gabby was unsettled about it, Stefan said his significant other let it out was a decent cover and was good with it as long as it didn't go excessively far. Gabby have little to no faith in Ava, however Stefan grinned over her confiding in him. As Stefan busted open a container of Prosecco to observe Chad's assistants, Ava actually looked at her phone message and acknowledged Rafe needed to see them at the Salem PD today. Paulina's determination, cleanup time, another ordinary. Days of Our Lives uncover that Paulina Cost accepts her determination and it hits hard. Ava Vitali and Stefan Demera have a wreck to tidy up expertly and by. Xander Cook and Sarah Horton subside into their new typical now that they are flatmates. Days of Our Lives, Paulina values disease finding. Paulina is accustomed to being major areas of strength for a lady. Nonetheless, she has now found she is debilitated and that hits her extremely hard. Paulina is up against a difficult challenge for which she doubts she is prepared. A disease finding is nothing to trifle with and Paulina is overpowered by everything continuing at present. Paulina must also manage a town and deal with this. Paulina has a medication cartel to close down. Paulina's significant other still hasn't gotten his memory back and she positively doesn't have any desire to be a weight on anybody. Paulina needs love from her loved ones, however, she likewise needs love and backing from her significant other. Will Abe Carver be able to recall more after this crisis? Tidying up the bistro. Days of Our Lives demonstrate that Ava and Stefan have a wreck to tidy up and it doesn't simply include the bistro. Another issue is the restaurant's bad name. The eatery is currently thought to be related with a medication ring and business isn't working out positively. Ava and Stefan need to fix that before Clyde Weston, James Redd, harms any other person they love. Ava will seek assistance from Stephanie Johnson in the area of public relations, and Stefan will also seek favorable publicity by contacting Chad Demera, his brother. DOL spoilers update Paulina's conclusion, cleanup time, another ordinary. Will Chad help Stefan? They are siblings, all things considered. Everett Lynch is upset about this by any stretch of the imagination and even takes steps to stop. Will Chad persuade Everett to keep close by? DOL a little family time. Xander and Sarah are presently sunk into his loft and living as flatmates. Xander and Sarah are partaking in this time as a family with their girl Victoria. Xander recommended this so the two of them could be around for Victoria's firsts or so he guaranteed at that point. Nonetheless, there is somewhat more going on behind the scenes. Xander and Sarah might be separated yet that hasn't reduced the affection they have for one another. Already, Sarah and Xander have exchanged a few passionate kisses. What amount of time will it require before these two admit their adoration for one another and end up back together? How might things change when they become familiar with reality with regards to Xander's dad too? Sarah commitments to help Paulina explore her disease process. In the Times of Our Lives recap FO, Paulina figured out her analysis, which made her stress over the treatment. Days of Our Lives recap features. Moreover, Chanel and Abe upheld Paulina at the medical clinic. The Observer was the site for struggle among the workers. Stefan and Ava selected Stephanie to assist with saving the bistro from an episode of terrible exposure. At last, Chad settled on a terrible choice to assist with safeguarding his siblings' standing. Presently, we should dig further into what occurred. The conclusion. At the medical clinic, Paulina alongside Abe and Chanel hung tight for her experimental outcomes. Tragically, Paulina's analysis was precisely as she dreaded, cancer. Understand this, on days, learn about the next event.